won't stop till killer cops are in cell blocks. Can't stop.
The following newly released video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up.
No.
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz. In a newly released video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one. Concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up.
No.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, ABDUL SALAAM, July 1st, 2013. Here, SALAAM is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced, this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly. Picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog-tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck. I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to Daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, DARRELL Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, I said, what's wrong with it?
Improper way with it.
There's no such thing as an improper way.
You gonna tell me my job, bro?
I know the law.
Are you gonna tell me the law?
I know the law.
You gonna tell me the law?
I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration?
Yeah, let me get it.
The profile, y'all use the seatbelt as a reason. Profile.
Do me a favor, take out your keys.
Yeah, you can record me. For what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. What do you call a supervisor? I want to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah?
And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we're getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardez Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West, July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July the 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses, the N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 to 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
Mic check, mic check. This is West Wednesday, number 472. We're calling for justice for all victims of police violence. Mic check, mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Mic check, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Mic check.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Oh, y'all can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So like my brother Ben said, this is West Wednesday 472. That's a very long time to be fighting for anything, but currently we've been fighting for accountability, not just for my big brother Tyrone West, but literally for all the victims of police brutality and murder. And right now we're living in sad times, but first, before we start off tonight, I want to apologize because I did tell you guys that we were going to be on at 7:10, and because of the connection and where I'm at, it's kind of hard. So sorry about that. I apologize in advance because I know you guys' time is very important. Tonight we don't have any special guests because my special guest, Corinne Game brother, was supposed to come on, but he's still really, it's an emotional month and time for him right now, and I truly understand. So again, this is West Wednesday, and as you saw in that video, you know, there were victims leading up to my brother being murdered. And unfortunately, nothing has been resolved in my brother's murder. Nothing. Like, literally, you have an unarmed man literally beat to death in broad daylight, video footage, credible witnesses, and still no accountability. That's really sad. Very disgusting. So, you know, I just wanted to say that. And as I'm approaching, my birthday is in less than 24 hours. Tomorrow's my birthday, but it's sad that I can't be like overly joyful for something that my family is happy about my birthday and all that. But I would have loved to share my birthday with my brother being right here. But unfortunately, I can't do that because they took something from this family that they could never ever give us back. You know, all the money in the world would not bring back my brother. You know, and it's just really sad and very disgusting. And, you know, his children are growing old. He has grandchildren out here that he never got a chance to see. But I don't care how many years it takes, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to constantly, continuously fight, not just for my brother, but for literally all the victims of police brutality and murder. It's just sad. Like, we're really in sad times that with all the community violence, like, it's to the point I don't even want to check the news for the weather because you're constantly seeing children killing other children and children getting murdered and just everybody. Like, I am like over it. Like, that is beyond sad and devastating. You know, like, why can't we just live life, enjoy life, live it till our fullest, you know, and just go on? But, you know, I guess everything is just written down, and sometimes, in some cases, it's not fair, or we don't see it as fair. But I know for all the pain that we go through, there is a reason. You know, it's unfortunately, but there is a reason for everything. I truly, in my heart, believe that. It's a reason for everything, but I definitely won't scramble, you know, and I just wanted to let you know, no matter what, I don't care if it's raining, I don't care if I have to jump on from my car, boots on the ground in person, I'm never going to stop. We're never going to stop until we literally get accountability for my brother, not just my brother, but literally for all these victims. Like, everybody deserves accountability, and I'm happy in Breonna Taylor case that finally, but it shouldn't take no 2 years to come charge killer cops for bloody murder. It shouldn't take no 2 years. And in my brother case, it shouldn't take 9, 10, 15 years or whatever y'all trying to do, but I don't give a damn how long it takes. I'm not going to stop. And this is sad. And then literally we just came up on the commemoration also of Michael Brown. We cannot forget Michael Brown, who was executed in Ferguson, left in the road like roadkill. I don't know what to say to his father, which is my warrior brother. The only thing I can say is, I'm sorry, my brother, I'm praying for you. And at the end of the day, words, even though words can be sweet and sometimes words can be mean, but the sweetest words in the world It's not enough for these families that are suffering daily without having their loved ones, especially when your loved one is actually murdered. Any murder is very devastating. Whether it's a law enforcement officer that murders your loved one or it's a civilian on the street. Murder is murder. It's very heartbreaking. It's not an act of God. It is horrific. It is terrible. And people suffer, like they suffer even though they try to push their pain and turn it into positivity and as much as you can find out of pain. But it's just sad, like, at what point people want to take our pain and just really say, you know what, enough is enough. How many more people got to get murdered in our city? They're pretty much saying that, hey, this is the Wild Wild West, and it's been the Wild Wild West since Freddie Gray blood was on the ground. Ever since we stood together and unified, one fight, one purpose, one cause. Literally, the police officers turned their backs on us, and pretty much they want to put us in a circumstance that we're begging for them to come back, begging for the National Guard, begging for all the cruel shit that they have been doing to us for decades. We sort of just beg for our demise. Fuck no. Excuse my language. Y'all know I don't really use harsh language, but hell no. It's disgusting. But that is their trick for us to literally, just beg them for them to freaking kill us. It's like, at what point are we safe? We shouldn't have to be over militarized and things of that nature. Like, it's just sad. Why can't they do their freaking job? That's all I want to know. They get a paycheck. And their job is to serve and protect. But unfortunately, they're only serving us brutality and death while they are the ones protecting. And that's been the history of policing. And I really feel sorry for the few good men and women in blue. I really feel sorry for them. That say, you know what, I want to be that difference maker. I want to do that. I feel sorry for them. Because unfortunately, they're in the wrong field, and unfortunately, they're going to have to learn the hard way. But the way the system is designed, I just want to smash it, trash it, and throw it to hell and start it all over again because it's truly not working. It never worked, and it's just sad and disgusting. As we get the homicide list that we read every week, there's always someone on a homicide list. There's always someone on the police brutality list. And like we said, my brother Ben pointed out last week, he said that with all the killings from the beginning of this year, right, has been historical. And that's disgusting. Why couldn't it be historical pretty much that, like, less people were murdered? It's just horrible. It's just horrible. And meanwhile, you're leaving. It's just a different name, same game type of thing. And it's sad and it's disgusting. And when I see, my sister Angela, who lost her brother Timothy, ride for hours, even in pain. Like, we were supposed to do an outside demonstration. She was ready to come ride up. And she's in no, mood to ride, no position to ride because she just had a surgery. But that's what we'll do. Literally, it made me so mad, but I was so on it. But it made me sad that my own uncle literally just got off of the hospital bed from a major surgery, came to the commemoration of his nephew. Why do we have to go through that type of hell? Why? And ain't nobody listening. So it don't matter what mayor we get in position, what state's attorney. It's like all of these fuckers are in the bed together. That's what they're in the bed together. They need to pull up their pants and do their goddamn job. In the case that we showed you with Ruiz, he is married to a state prosecutor, Michelle Battle. Okay? Let's be crystal clear. How? That tells you right there. What in the hell? That's a big ass discrepancy, if one must say. You got them in the bed together, a whole couple. And she worked for the office that's supposed to literally prosecute them if they do wrongdoings, and they're in the bed together. They're a happy damn family. But meanwhile, this bastard, this coward, murdered my brother. He was the first one, him and Chapman. And though I call only Chapman and Ruiz And I say, David Lewis, I want every one of those cowards. Latrice, Lee, Daniel, I want every last one of them. Derek Hilton, every last one of you stinking animals, all 17 of y'all. So don't think y'all, oh, cool, because I'm not calling y'all out. I want every last one of them. And I even want the ones that were standing around that didn't do a goddamn thing. I even want the people that supposed to came to save my brother's life, they didn't do shit. They ran over there to David Keller. I'm sorry, not David Lewis. There's so many killers, so I apologize that I'm going to get them mixed up. But they actually had the nerve to run over and aid the killer and left my brother there dying like an animal. You run over and you aid the killer because he sprayed so much of his stuff. It wasn't pepper spray or chemicals or anything that my brother used to save his life. No, these were some of the tools that they used to execute one unarmed man. They sprayed so much of chemicals. I tell you guys, 9 years later, we are unable to get any stitch of clothing, any wallet, anything of my brother's personal belongings. And the crazy part, they said when the investigation is over, everything that belongs to Mr. West, we will gracefully hand over. Liars, liars, liars. I have not retrieved anything. Nothing. Let's be crystal clear. Not a shirt, not a wallet, not a sock, not a pair of tennis shoes, nothing. This is how dirty this system is. And what they will do, and let's be crystal clear, what they will do to the victim's family is they set us up in a position to make it seem like we are cold nuts. That is what they do. They set us up in a position to make it seem like we are cold nuts, like we're delusional, we're making up all this stuff, we're being extra or whatever. Nobody can make this stuff up. Hollywood couldn't make this stuff up. The stuff that you heard about Detective Suter being murdered by his own, in my opinion, and mostly everyone's opinion, right, is true. You can't make this stuff up. You know, even the investigator that was going to put Detective Suter's story out there for the world to see, they claimed that he killed himself. And not only did he kill himself a year later after Detective Suter, they claimed that he did a homicide. He murdered his wife, and then he killed himself. Really? You couldn't make this stuff up, like. But again, this is the way this dirty system is designed, is set up. It is dirty, it is nasty, it is very evil. And the saddest part, nobody will honestly know how corrupt this system is until you cross over on the other side. That's why I always told everybody, you have to pick a side. You can't play middleman, middle person. You can't do that because there's too many people being murdered. And guess what, sweetheart, love? Guess what? With the homicides on the street, guess what? It's all connected. In my mind, in my book, it is all connected. It is called legalized genocide. It is another way to wipe us out. It's to the point that babies are not safe. You literally have, in one case that broke my heart this week, between this week and last week, there was a baby girl that was shot, okay, by a teenager, like a 15-year-old. I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying, I'm devastated. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Then you turn around the next week later or a few days later, you have a 9-year-old boy that killed a beautiful 15-year-old girl. And nobody's being held accountable. But we all know, and it's sad because I don't ever even want to see like a little baby, but at the end of the day, like, we have to hold everybody accountable to something because we're in these times now. It's not going to get better. I hate to be the bearer of bad news because it's not. But at the end of the day, why can't it's like pretty much the connection is in the complexion. You know, unfortunately, just because of our complexion being an African American, black, whatever you want to call us or whatever, we don't get any type of accountability, no type of transparency, nothing. Even when your loved one is murdered on the street, they can tell a family, you know what, we ain't going to do nothing. We're sorry for you at your loss. Move on with the next one. That is disgusting. But we all know in real reality, when anybody is Caucasian, whether it's a child, whether it's an adult, senior citizen, they always get some type of accountability. They always get. I guarantee you, if all these homicides that are happening with our people daily, every day, nonstop, right? If that was Caucasian folks getting killed at a rapid pace like us, and trust me, they can't even have a prowler loose in Roland Park. You know, they're going to come through. You're going to see the mayor walk through. You're going to see everybody coming through when there's a prowler. But meanwhile, our blood is laying on the ground getting washed away daily, daily. Our lives do matter. Our baby lives matter, grandmothers, children, everybody. Like, it is sad. Because at the end of the day, when they stop killing us, guess who they're going to come for? Just take a wild guess. And it's unfortunate because at the end of the day, nobody deserves to be brutally murdered, executed, or anything. Everybody deserves the pursuit of happiness. And the pursuit of happiness is living your life out to the fullest, being the best you can be, because in these times, anything can happen to you. Anything. And I don't wish death. I don't wish bad luck. I don't wish anything horrible or no one, right? All we ever ask for is accountability. What is accountability? Accountability is hold me to the same extent of the law, will hold somebody that murders my loved one to the same extent of the law as if it was me. Because if it was me that did those horrific things to what happened to my brother, if I did that, you would never see me again. Or if my brother killed the cop the way that, he was murdered, you would have never saw him again, right? In real time. But when they kill us, it's like, oh, well, the police act within reason. What does that mean that they act within reason? It is disgusting, man. It's really disgusting. And the levels and layers that they will do to cover up is beyond. Like, I'm telling y'all haven't even heard half of the dirt. And that's why I really feel nobody is trying to take my brother's case seriously. And I'm not trying to make it seem like my brother's case is the worst thing, because when anyone gets murdered, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's disgusting. But in my brother's case, it's so much of layers of dirt. So many people will have to fall. It's like opening up the Pandora's box. Like, the cover-up was worse than the murder. Like, literally, with my brother being murdered in a vicious way, right? You think about the levels of dirt, right? The levels of corruption that took place for them to cover up one unarmed man's death. that is disgusting to me. Like, I choke up every time I think about it. You wouldn't believe that people of power, people in position that could actually do something is playing a game. But guess what? Everybody has their day. Marilyn Mosley played with my family. Bye-bye, Marilyn Mosley. Everybody that played with my family is always caught up in their shit, get exposed immediately. Excuse my language. When you babies just listen to me, but I'm pissed off. But everybody, like from Mayor Catherine Pugh, who sat and looked my family in our face and say, oh, you guys got accountability because of a freaking paycheck. And I had to tell her and show her. My brother hacked that body and said, do this look like some damn accountability? No. And she almost vomited her egg. Like, don't play with me. Like, do not play with me. But it said everybody that, I'm telling you, they taking their falls. And they're going to continuously take their falls. Like I said, I don't wish bad luck, karma, or anybody, right? But I do wish karma. I ain't gonna lie. How you treat people is what you deserve back. So you should be very careful on how you treat people. Because you always, I promise you, always get it back. So if you're being good to people, even though when bad things happen, guess what, baby? You're going to be covered. You're going to be covered because, hey, but if you constantly doing dirt and crime and all this foolishness, it is going to come back to you. Even though sometimes, in some cases, we may not see it, but the God I serve is a good God. He always let me see when these jokers take their fall. All of them, like every last person that looked me in my face and told all these lies and laughed and joked, all of them. Every last one of them jokers took a fall. I'm looking like, are you kidding me? Like, you cannot make this stuff up. I done met with commissioner after commissioner, mayor after mayor. Like, come on now. Come on now. Like, at what point? Like, something needs to be done. So I'm gonna do a mic check real quick, and I'm gonna check in to see somebody can read the comments and questions. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Mic check. Mic check.
Tawana, would you like other
I
comments
can't
at
hear
this
you,
point?
Uncle Bill. So I'm gonna leave. If you can hear me, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna come right back. I'm gonna try that.
All right. Well, while you're gone, let me make a point that I wanted to raise. Police murders, in a sense, are like icebergs. You know that an iceberg has only maybe 10% of it showing above the water, and the vast majority of it, about 90% of it, is under the water where it can't be seen. And the police murders that we're familiar with, the ones that have been in the news nationally, are the tip of the iceberg. But there are many, many others that we don't know about. For example, this evening, we're going to be honoring 17 people, upholding the lives of 17 people whose lives were stolen by the police just in the week from August 1st to August 8th. And week after week after week, this is true. In fact, the number of people killed by police is about 1,100 per year. Very close to that number every year, up or down, maybe 50 lives, but about 1,100. It was true during Obama's administration, true during Trump's administration, and it's true under Biden's administration. And last week, Ben told us that so far in 2022, the rate of police killing is actually somewhat higher than it has been in previous years. And we've talked a number of times on West Wednesday how police murder and the role of police today is a follow-up to their origin. Part of the origin was as slave catchers in the South to brutalize someone who ran away if they get caught, to set an example to everyone else to try and scare people into submission. The other origin of police was in the North to control factory workers. They originated around the same time in the North and the South for those two purposes. And I would say police today, this is my point of view, that police today police the working class. They don't police wealthy people, and they police people of color in particular. And they do it for very similar reasons to the way it was done during slavery. That is to say, they want to scare people into submission, people who are likely to be the most rebellious because this system has slapped them in the face more than anyone else. I would say that for most of us that listen to this program and that join us in our rallies on the street and to help this fight against police brutality, that what we really want is for there never to be anyone else whose life is stolen by the police. But in my opinion, and this is West Wednesday's point of view as a whole, but as my opinion as a communist, to win that goal, we need a revolution, and we need a whole new system that doesn't have a class of people that they want to suppress, to pay low wages to, and get rich off of. And that's the point of view I wanted to raise, and to keep in context why there is such a large number of people being killed by police on a routine basis. Tawanda, are you back on? I'd like to turn it back to you, Tawanda, if you can hear me. To you.
Mic check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Well, I can't hear you guys.
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
So I'm gonna try that one more time and try to come back over and get start understanding this stuff. Mic check.
Marcellus, are you here to read the comments?
Yes.
Why don't we go ahead with that since Tawanda's having a technical problem?
Okay. Angie says, mic check, we can hear you. And Judah says, much love to Wanda. Kalia says, I can't see a world without police brutality that doesn't require a complete overhaul of the system. And Nelson says, I can hear you, mic check.
Are you able to see the earlier comments? Those are the most recent ones.
I can get on her Facebook. I could get on the Facebook and YouTube page and access them.
I think that would be great while we're waiting for Tawana to try and get her phone straight for this program.
All right. On YouTube, AC Britt says mic check. Kalia says mic check. Angie says, you're so right. You're so right. AC Britt says, with policing being based on a foundation of slavery, it needs to be torn down and a new idea needs to be thought up and utilized. Kalia says, absolutely. AC Britt is ADIENA. Angie says, Baltimore government is just people with power doing each other favors to advance their own careers, all while the people of the city are left to fend for themselves. Kalia says, connection in the complexion reminds me when a cop said the excessive force that killed Anton Black was the correct procedure. Angie says, bye-bye, Marilyn Mosby. ADIENA says, interesting that she talks about the commissioners and mayors and has interference talking. And Angie says, mic check, we can hear you. And Kalia says, I can't see a world without police brutality. And on to Wanda's. On to Wanda's page. Bill says, sorry that we had a late start for West Wednesday this evening. In general, we're shifting to a 7 p.m. start time. Hillary says, Bill says, welcome, Kima. Bill says, we have 17 lives to uphold this evening, victims of police brutality from August 1st to 8th. Shame on the perpetrators of this calculated racist murder. Angela says, mic check. Nelson says, mic check. Bill says, exactly, we shouldn't be asking for more policing. Yes, all of the officers who were at the murder of Tyrone West, all 17 of them need to be in jail. Nelson says, you are so right. The system is corrupt. It's so corrupt. Bill says, hey, Jakaya. Angela says, it's very shameful for the city of Baltimore to ignore the evidence against the 17 killer cops that murdered Mr. Tyrone West. Bill says, yes, Angela. Nelson says, they all are working together for the bad. Judah says, mic check. Much love to Wanda. And Nelson says, I can hear you, mic check. And those are all the comments so far. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Mic check. Thank you so much. So at this time, I'm going to ask everybody to take 1 minute of silence. So we're going to read the sad homicide list. And I heard that we have 17 names on our police brutality list. So if we could just take 1 minute, if you pray, say a prayer. If not, just keep our, loved ones, the victim family members, in your thoughts. Mic check. We're going to start right now. Mic check. Thank you so much. So, I don't know who's reading the sad list. I don't know if it's, I saw Kalia on here, yeah. So I think she's going to be reading our sad list. And I thank you, again, our queen, for reading the sad list. I'm turning the mic over to you. Mic check.
Mic check. Thank you, Tawanda.
Mic check.
So far, as of August 1st to August 8th, we have 2 confirmed homicides, both being shootings. One may be very familiar to people in the area of Baltimore, that of the death of 15-year-old Nikayla Strouder.
Nikayla Strouder.
Strouder.
Thank you. And she was killed by a 9-year-old. I happened to find out from Ben. The 9-year-old intended to kill her brother, who had hit him with a basketball during a game, and instead ended up killing Nikayla instead. I'm sorry, Nikayla. That was on August 6th. 2 days after that, we have a 57-year-old who was killed, Antoine Smith.
Antoine Smith.
Antoine Smith.
Thank you. Thank you. And that concludes the community violence list.
That is so sad. And again, thank you, my queen, for taking your time, being dedicated, as we know Brian always is. And I just thank you for carrying the torch for him. Thank you so much, because I know that's hard and heartbreaking, and I just thank you so much. Now, unfortunately, it's Uncle Bill's turn to read our horrible police brutality list as well. My heart is broke right now. Mic check.
Mic check. Kalia, if I could ask you to stay on for a moment. Ordinarily, Nicole will do this, but perhaps you could help tonight. In the West African language of Yoruba, the expression ashe means let it be so. So if we announce the name, or actually if we announce the death of someone killed by the police, but the name has not yet been put in the newspapers, we don't want to say ashe to the death. We don't want to say let it be so to the death. So Kalia, if you would be comfortable doing it, perhaps after I announce someone whose name has not yet been posted, if you could say killer cops in cell blocks, ashe, and then we're saying let it be so to the fact that they belong in, the cops who did that belong in cell blocks. Can you do that for us tonight? Thank you.
Of course.
The first person killed by police whose name we want to uphold tonight was killed on August the 1st in Elmore County, Alabama, Darren Gray.
Darren Gray.
Thank you. The second person was killed also on August 1st in Gordon County, Georgia, 26 years old, Walter Osborne.
Walter Osborne.
Again on August 1st in Mapleton, North Dakota, 35 years old, Andrew Martinez.
Andrew Martinez.
Also, once more on August 1st in Green Mountain, North Carolina, 24 years old, Travis Woody.
Travis Woody.
On August the 2nd in Las Cruces, New Mexico, we don't know the age, and we don't know the gender, and we have not seen yet an identification of this person.
Killer cops in cell blocks. Ashe.
Ashe. On August the 2nd in Beaufort, Georgia, 51 years old, Thang, I believe it's a Vietnamese name, Thang Don.
Don.
Once more on August the 2nd in Barberville, Kentucky, a 70-year-old woman, Norma Hartman.
Norma Hartman.
On August the 3rd in Spokane, Washington, a man who's not yet identified, and we don't know the age.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe. On August the 3rd in St. George, Utah, a man, age is not yet revealed, and we don't know the identity.
Cell blocked for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe. On August the 5th in North Glen, Colorado, a man whose name has not yet been identified.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe. In Clemens, North Carolina, August the 5th, we don't know the age. The gentleman whose life was stolen by police is Alexander Wee.
Alexander Wee.
Alexander Wee.
Thank you, everyone. On August the 6th in Yakima County, Washington, 26 years old, Ezekiel Ayala.
Ezekiel Ayala.
On August the 6th, once more in Lawrence County, Alabama, we don't know the age. It was a man, Marty Hutto.
Marty Hutto.
On August the 6th, once more in Orlando, Florida, a man whose age has not been revealed, and we do not know his name as of yet.
Cell blocked for killer cops.
Ashe.
Once more on August 6th, in Roosevelt, Pennsylvania, 59 years old, Douglas Stanton.
Douglas Stanton.
On August the 7th, in Kansas City, Missouri, it's a man whose age has not yet been mentioned and is not yet identified.
Cell blocked for killer cops.
Ashe. And the last person killed by police that was posted in the Washington Post during this time frame, this 1 week, in Harris County, Texas, a man who's not yet been identified.
Cell blocked for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you, Kalia. I know that's a difficult task the first time you try to do that, but I think you did very well helping us to uphold these lives that were lost by police violence. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Well, awesome. So it's good to have my brother Marcellus back. It's just good to be here, even though it's under sad circumstances, because we're just uplifting all the loved ones, family members, and things like that. But it's good to be here, and I just thank you guys for your time. I thank my brother Ben. I thank the whole entire West Coalition. I just thank each and every last one of you guys, and also my sister Pamela Brooks has came up on her commemoration of her son being murdered, ran down, and left in a roadkill from a killer cop while he was on his dirt bike. So my heart goes out to my sister and just anybody. Like, if I missed anybody, please don't judge my heart. Please don't. I'm asking you, please don't. Because it's too many names, too many murders. But I love you guys. Remember, live to love to live. I love you all, and we will see you next West Wednesday. So as we brought you guys in with the video, that's very important, for you guys to watch, and it's more important for you guys to do an action. Right now is the time to actually reach out to Marilyn Mosley, because at this point, she still can do something. While you're reaching out to Marilyn Mosley and you're asking her, when is she going to sit down with the West family? Why aren't these killer cops in the cell block? Where is Timothy Fleming's autopsy? Like, it's a lot to be asked, a lot to be said. And free Keith Davis Jr. and find the murderers or murderer that murdered Kevin Jones, because their family needs accountability too. But you don't need the wrong person to go down. Like, it's just we're in sad times right now. So live to love to live. And as we brought you guys with the video at the beginning, we're going to take you guys out with the same video, the second half of it. Thank you guys so much. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And Mr. West begging for his life, and Mr. SALAAM begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, ADIENA BRITT and family, September 10th, 2015.
My name is ADIENA BRITT, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped.
Case number 5. Unidentified arrestee. Assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No, why you
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said, police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the Gun Trace Task Force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the SALAAM vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, ABDUL SALAAM, and my sister ADIENA and her family. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.